After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000 FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheriff always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's betting.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think they are fringes.
Yeah, that might be a push. That's a preference thing, I think. Do you want to be in the SEC? Do you want to live in Happy Valley versus Norman? Maybe you can go down to Texas.
I would take Norman.
Well, to go down and get talent out of Texas.
Yes.
But I think you've got to have alumni, president, athletic director that are all on board and committed to winning. And you need to have a fan base that shows up in sports.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2, we're just getting cooking right here on the early line for a Thursday morning. We got NBA action, a doubleheader tonight. You got NHL action? Absolutely. You got NFL action, checkmate, and also college football as well. And then it even leaks into a football Friday tomorrow. With an exciting weekend, the place to be. You know the drill. It is right here with the SportsGrid Network and the early line. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. But every time, look, we're a social media show. We do this live, people. And information comes in sometimes when you're not expecting it, and that means Heat guard Terry Rozier arrested this morning by the FBI. Joe, they just played a game last night in Orlando. Now he's in cuffs, and they're saying a press conference today to explain why Terry Rozier is in cuffs here. Joe, what are we thinking this could possibly be?
Yeah, well, shocker. What is it? It is not new, I'll tell you that, Donnie, because he knew he was under investigation back in 2023, and it all stemmed from when he was with the Charlotte Hornets in a game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Apparently, sports books across the country flagged an unusual amount of bets coming in, fading Rozier's PRA there, his points, rebounds, and assists. And he only played about 8 or 9 minutes in the game, and then all of a sudden came down with a foot injury, and that was the end of that. So they have been apparently investigating this for a while. None of this had to do with him with the Miami Heat, but he was available to play last night. A coach's decision. Something tells me Eric Spoelstra was like, yeah, maybe best he doesn't hit the floor here tonight because he won't be enjoying breakfast tomorrow, that's for sure.
Incredible stuff. Press conference, by the way, 10 a.m. Eastern here. And we're going to keep you updated on all the latest right here on the SportsGrid Network. But let's get to some fun here on the early lineup. And maybe not so fun if you play for the Jets or you cheer for the Jets. You saw the comments yesterday by Woody Johnson, basically saying like, the kid can't even complete a pass. Well, here's Justin Fields shrugging off those comments.
Justin, what was your reaction to Woody Johnson's comments yesterday?
I didn't see any comment. I'm not, y'all know I'm not on, social media at all.
Nobody briefed you here with the Jets, what he said?
No, not really.
He was highly critical of you. He basically said, if you guys could complete a pass, things would look good here. He kind of said, the quarterback play, the can't win with a quarterback with a rating like they have. So you weren't aware of any of that?
Nah, I wasn't. Like I said, I'm not on social media. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't. You know, of course, everybody knows. You know, I need to play better. We need to play better as a team. And of course, you know, no matter how the offense does as a unit, I'm going to get the blame, and I understand that. That's just what comes with the job. But honestly, it's what comes with it. So you can't let anything kind of affect your mind, my mind, and that's what it is. No matter if it's him, no matter if it's family members, even teammates. Sometimes there's gonna be times where you have to be the only one who believes in yourself. So like I said, that's his opinion, and like I told you guys after the game on Sunday, I'm at peace, and all my focus is right now is working each and every day and getting better. So.
I like to sing this to Justin Fields. Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop lying. Come on, he didn't hear about it. His phone probably had so many texts it exploded in his pocket the minute that your owner basically said, my quarterback is a chump at this point. I don't care that you're not on social media and you said that doesn't bother you. When the owner of your team is embarrassing you and you found out about it, to sit up there and be like, yeah, I don't really know anything about that. Stop it, man. Stop lying to us.
Yeah, something tells me, Donnie, he doesn't have a phone either. He probably never leaves the facility. He is completely sheltered from the outside world and had no idea that his owner, as well as his coach, I am sure, don't think very highly of him as a starting quarterback. But how can he think of himself as a starting quarterback is my question right now. And ironically, we talked about it last hour, Aaron Glenn, he knows who the starting quarterback is, but doesn't want to give the Bengals any competitive advantage by laying it out right now. So, like the way they're being coy there in Jets camp. They know nothing, Donnie. They know nothing.
I'm telling you right now, like if Justin Fields was in high school or college and was playing quarterback this way, you'd be like, damn, you know what? Maybe a change of scenery. How about a linebacker? How about an edge pass rusher? How about you be a tight end at this point? Maybe switch to wide receiver because this quarterback thing just isn't working out here. But shout out Justin Fields saying, didn't hear anything about my owner blasting me on national publications here that I can't throw a pass. Never heard about that. And nobody texted me and I'm not on social media. Yes, you are. Stop lying here. Who's on social media? Lamar Jackson. He was on social media the other night, showing up late night to get some food truck. Eyes were looking a little bit buggy at this point. Let the man live his life as long as he's playing football. And it looks like he's going to return back to the football field this week against those Chicago Bears. They need him back. Hopefully he is back, but he's practicing.
Yeah, no, and that's what we wanted to know, right? If he was practicing or not, because we were wondering if this was ever going to hit the key number of 7 in the market. And, well, now it's down to 6. So apparently him being back is not influencing the market at all here, Donnie. But, again, what version are we going to get? You and I talked about hamstring injuries, man. It's one cut away from, oops, I'm out again. So it'll be interesting. And by the way, does Lamar play defense? Because I'm still pretty sure that's the biggest issue the Ravens have right now.
Lamar would probably be their best cornerback if he gave it a thought at this point. But yes, that hamstring injury, always tricky. Took some time off. Maybe he comes back and beats the Bears here. This is going to take more time off too. Jaden Daniels, quarterback of the Washington Commanders. He won't play on Monday Night Football. And that line has gone from 9.5 up to 12.5 at most outlets here. Looks like KC might be in line for a blowout. By the way, the darlings of the NFL last year, the Washington Commanders, having a rough go of it here in 2025.
Yeah, listen, I'd much rather him not force himself to try and play for this version of this Washington team, which to me is just no good. This is the future of your organization. This is your franchise quarterback. So there's no need to rush him back. And by the way, Mariota has already shown that he's more than capable of stepping in and putting some points up with this offense. So it's not that, it should not be that big a move because Daniels isn't in at this point.
And in our latest episode of Why You Always Lying, here's Sean Payton talking about he's lying about what he was talking about just the other day here. Check this out.
I did. Look, in the euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart. I mean, and I that was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. So, and I might be able to see how he might perceive that, but coming off that win and watching how he played, that wasn't any intention at all.
He ought to be up there on Def Comedy Jam, man. My man was ready to break out laughing. You know it was about him, but he is saying the right thing now. Let's just put this to bed. Let's not have this rivalry go any further. But you know, the moment that you're speaking the truth the most is right when the information is hot. Post-game, yeah, he was speaking the truth. He knew exactly what he was saying and throwing digs at Russ.
Deny, Donnie. The way he just threw his hands up, like I don't know what the guy. I have no idea. Sure, you don't. Okay. Keep it rolling though, because that just keeps the fire lit, and I love it.
Absolutely. And by the way, other hot topics. Bo Bichette, he's coming back into the lineup. The cavalry is here to try to knock off the Dodgers.
I love it. Another bat, another guy to put the ball in play and hit for power. Gotta love it. Starting to come together here for the Blue Jays.
Absolutely. And how about this? Victor Wembanyama. This guy is 19 feet tall, dominating basketball games. Impressive on opening night, Joe.
What's also impressive is this kid's supporting cast here of Stephen Castle and Dylan Harper. This is going to be get ready for the San Antonio Spurs to be at the top of the heap for a while moving forward.
Getting paid well at a powerhouse in college baseball. Let's move to the major leagues. Congratulations on that huge pay bump. No, took a pay cut. Something ain't right here, Joe. I'm sniffing this one out.
I mean, you will never see the move from college baseball to pro dugout manager. This is going to end in misery.
I don't agree with Tom Izzo a lot. I'll agree with him next.
Oh.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000 FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheriff always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's betting.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think they are fringes.
Yeah, that might be a push. That's a preference thing, I think. Do you want to be in the SEC? Do you want to live in Happy Valley versus Norman? Maybe you can go down to Texas.
I would take Norman.
Well, to go down and get talent out of Texas.
Yes.
But I think you've got to have alumni, president, athletic director that are all on board and committed to winning. And you need to have a fan base that shows up in sports.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
We're going to talk a little college football in just a few moments, but I love hot topics. When they come across my desk, there's a lot of passion that usually gets into it. Some people don't care about it, but I love these type of topics. I don't agree with Tom Izzo a lot on some of his stances, whether it's college basketball, how he deals with his players, what have you. But the one thing I do know is that he's one of the last old school mentality guys that's left in college basketball. Listen to what topic he's talking about right here.
I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I listen to people talk of how kids changed. Kids aren't the problem. We're the problem. This was sprung on us again yesterday where a guy can be in the G League for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's eligible. Most of my people knew nothing about it. I don't think our commissioner. I mean, I am not real excited about the NCAA or whoever's making these decisions without talking to us, just letting it go because they're afraid they're going to get sued. So you're right. I said that this really bothers your coach if you're Michigan State fans. But if you want a silver lining in a cloud, I am going to call Magic tonight. I'm going to call Jaren Jackson, Miles, Gary, Max. You know, this just goes to show you how ridiculous people that are in power make decisions. That's my opinion. Only my opinion. So don't be mad at anybody else. Be mad at us. But I'm not going to be mad at the players. I'm going to be mad at the adults in the room.
He's right. He's 1,000% right. Like, what happens if Cooper Flagg, hey, man, made all this money in the NBA. I'm 27 years old, played 7 years in the league. Let me go back to Duke and win a national championship, and nobody can stop him. There has to be adults in the room that make sane decisions, which isn't happening a lot in the NCAA right now, Joe.
No, it doesn't. I mean, and he went on to say in that interview, too, and it's right. You know, here's Tom Izzo walking into a 17, 18-year-old's house, sitting on the couch, trying to get their freshman son to come and sign and play basketball at Michigan State. And he gets him to sign, and that's good to go, and he's willing to go through the process. And then all of a sudden, now there's a 23-year-old coming from the G League that's going to step in, and all of a sudden that freshman ain't going to sniff the court. Like, it's not fair across the board. You can't be having these situations where it's not a level playing field for everybody across the board, especially the kids who I didn't know I was going to have to deal with a dude who's been playing with grown men for the last 4 years. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, Donnie. I'm with the coach on this one.
Like, what is it? College is going to be a fallback plan to make more money? Like, let's just say you come out of high school and Olympiacos overseas, like, hey, I'll give you $3 million for next year if you play with me. Oh, it didn't work out that good. Okay, I'll take that $3 million, then I'll go back to college at this point. I understand they're not technically amateurs anymore, but there is something about you go to college, and once you leave college, you are no longer an amateur and can go back. You're a professional. They're getting paid, a lot of these guys, like professional athletes, but they have no rules where, like, you're trying to win basketball games for Tom Izzo, and like, hey, I think I'll put the best team out on the court. And then let's just say Louisville goes out and signs 3 NBA guys at the start of the season. Like, why couldn't I do that at this point? At least have the rules known to the public on what you're playing with. And the NCAA has no idea what they're doing right now, and basically a toothless organization. Now, as we talk about toothless organizations, we love ourselves some college football here, Joe. The AP Top 25 continues to churn here. We're getting closer and closer to a college football playoff. And one of those big-time games this weekend, Joe, Ole Miss and Oklahoma. And look at that. Ole Miss and Oklahoma, top 25 right here, matchup. And you say, stumbled a little bit there for Ole Miss. Can they get back? Oklahoma gets their quarterback. Can they surge? Number 8 versus number 13, Joe. Line's on the move, too. Look ahead line for Oklahoma, -3.5. No longer the case. You see that graphic. It's -5.5 now with a total of 54.5 points here. Mateer back. Ole Miss stunned last week. Who's going to win this game? SEC pride on the line.
Been a lot of OU money in the marketplace here, Donnie, for this game here. And hey, listen, Mateer hasn't exactly looked great since he's come back from the injury there. But the one thing that we know for sure is that they could not stop Georgia in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that defense was absolutely horrific there. Now, is this the same offense OU has that they just faced? No, it's not. But it's the defense of OU that is going to be the key to this game. Can Ole Miss with Chambliss, can they figure out how to do what no other team has been able to do, and that is, decipher and beat this defense of OU, because it is one of the best units in the country, Donnie. It's a big ask, and I get why the money is coming in on OU.
Top 10 Vandy people. Hold on to your hat. They're also a favorite once again this weekend against Mizzou. Take a look at this. Opening line around that 3.5 price point. We're now seeing that dip below 3 to 2.5 at most outlets, and a total of 51.5 to 52.5 at this point. Vandy no longer trying to chase down and say, you know what? We're going to hunt you down. People now got the target on Vandy. Top 10 Vandy in the SEC. I'm rooting for him, Joe. It's a -2.5. They pull off this victory again.
This is a tough one, Donnie, here, because I love what Missouri has been doing as well. And this is going to be interesting. I mean, it really is, because we got two teams here that are looking to make their way into the postseason here. But wow, this is the reason that it's a field goal game is because I think it's going to come to exactly that. It's going to come down to a field goal. In Missouri, I mean, they're 1-18 straight up in the last 19 games versus top 10 SEC teams here, ranked SEC teams. They've not exactly done well in this spot in years past, but to me, it's a coin flip game, Donnie. I don't see an edge one way or the other outside of Vandy and Pavia now. They win this game, and that kid is going to be a Heisman favorite before long, I can tell you that.
How about this? Talking about field goal games. How about LSU at home is an underdog in the SEC? That's a rarity because Texas A&M unbeaten and coming to town at -2.5. Well, you guys talking about SEC games because the SEC is where good football lives. The question is, how much longer is Brian Kelly going to live at LSU?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, this is a big ass for Texas A&M, right? We're gonna learn a little something about this Texas A&M team, but I also think that total's a little light. Donnie, it feels to me like we could be getting some points in this game. I like the over here. I think that number's a little light with these two teams.
Impressive stuff, man. SEC. And by the way, the SEC, I retweeted something this morning about the ratings for 5 million people watching a game. The SEC is absolutely dominant. Maybe their best brand of football is this year. Incredible to say. We have more hot topics coming up next. Polymarket Kalshi, get involved, people. Let's ask those topics next. You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Let's ask the questions that people want to know, like, will Taylor Swift attend more than 8.5 NFL football games this season? We were talking about that yesterday, and yes, you can bet on those in legal markets. Kalshi today, we picked out a couple hot topics here to see if you want to place your money down on those. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. That first question, Joe, what will be Tyreek Hill's next team? The question is, if you answer yes, stays with Miami and or retires, or the Buffalo Bills. Now, granted, the Buffalo Bills, you get a really high price point if you bet them since they're listed there at 7 cents here on the dollar. That's tremendous value. But for me, who the heck is going to trade for Tyreek Hill when his leg basically fell off at this point? I would say you're crazy to think that Tyreek Hill is moving on. And if you do bet, $100, Joe, on yes, he's going to stay with Miami, retire. You get 4% back on that baby, $104 back in your pocket here. Where are you going to spend that $4, huh?
Well, I can tell you this, that I mean, what we've heard ever since the injury is that the Dolphins might just cut him and just cut ways with him and be done with it altogether here. Because, again, you don't know how long it's going to be before he gets back. You and I talked about him being on that wrong side of the age here to be able to recover and be the same person he was. So, retire is not a bad option either. He pockets his, $100 million and just goes away.
By the way, how about this next question here on this? LeBron James announces his retirement before the 2026-2027 season that starts, which is interesting. Yes is at 34 cents, which means $100 you plunk down, Joe, $195 will be your profit as it pays back $295. For me, I look at LeBron James. He's already going through it right now with sciatica. That just means you're getting old at this point. You're looking at this as Luka's team, and also the Lakers, you're just like, hey, man, we want you back as long as possible. Now they're not even extending LeBron James. Like, no, just pick up your player options. So we have 1 year to deal with this right now. I firmly believe LeBron James is not going to retire, let's just say, right after the season. I do think LeBron James does want to have a victory tour, and I do think next year could possibly his last season. I'm going to say, you know what? I'll bet the yes, and I'll take the $195 profit here on LeBron James announcing that retirement here before the season starts. I think he'll do it. I do.
I agree, Donnie. I think it's absolutely in the works already. So this would not shock me in any way, shape, or form. Listen, dealing with a sciatica now. The team it clearly has issues across the board. And if things don't start to work out this season for them, in other words, they don't look like they're going to make the postseason, I think that announcement could happen, Donnie, and then all of a sudden the farewell tour begins for LeBron James.
And also, it looks like you got a double shot at this, though. But I can't. It says, note the retirement must be intended to be, and then it says full rules, which is probably like, 16 pages. But do you get the benefit of if he announces his retirement and retires this year, or he announces his retirement and plays? Is that both a payout of yes, or does this question mean he announces his retirement before the 2026 season and he plays? You know what I mean? Like, there is a little bit of gray area right now in this.
Yeah, there is a little bit of gray area. But the last I saw, I think the recent odds check was somewhere around a 33% chance of retirement before the 26-27 season. Yeah. This has continually been going up, Donnie. It started at around 26-27%, but now the probability closer to 33. And I just think the longer he is not on that court, the higher this is going to get. This is one of those invest early and cash out before it happens.
Now, do we have the graphic up here for the LeBron tweet that we sent out earlier today on that market? There we go. So we got it posted. Will LeBron James announce his retirement before the 2026-2027 season? No. 25% yes, Joe. 75%. No surprise there. I agree with the public on that one there. That's the market I care about. Yes, yes, yes.
I agree. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And listen, I mean, at this point, I mean, is it fun, like being hurt all the time? Like, if LeBron could just show up right before the postseason and be like, all right, I'm good to go, ready to go. But having to go through an entire season, he's going to want his, his farewell tour as well. So don't be shocked as if it happens prior to Christmas.
How about this, Joe, by the way? And again, just interrupt for your news breaking scenario. Shams Charania tweet. Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups has also been arrested by the FBI for alleged illegal gambling, sources tell ESPN. What's going on this way? Joe, come on, these are breaking. What is going on? Is the league going for a downfall right now? Breaking news, people.
Across the board here. Well, this investigation is far-reaching, right? And it all started with Jonte Porter, let's not forget that scandal from a couple of years ago, right? And boy, oh boy, it looks like it's maybe a little more prevalent than we thought here. Ouch.
Yeah, let's hit that on the other side of the break. We'll be back. just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point. But if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, come on.
Right? I mean, really. I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year. And I think big picture, they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
We're having some fun with the Kalshi markets at this point, but again, we are a live show, so when information comes across that you need to know immediately, that's the power of the early bird gets the worm here, and that's what's going on right now. And by the way, the NBA set ablaze. You saw also, we talked about Adam Silver. Maybe we should reel in prop bets. Stop the madness. You're in bed with gambling here and just deal with it at this time. But also understand this. Terry Rozier arrested this morning by the FBI along with, how about this, Chauncey Billups, also arrested. Joe Ranieri, I know you're pretty plugged into these type of things. What do you think is actually going on right now between the NBA and the FBI?
Well, it sounds like, and reports are coming out now, that there has been a big investigation by the FBI, the NYPD, and the Brooklyn U.S. Attorney's Office surrounding a gambling ring of some sort, because they're also getting ready to tell us at this press conference that members and associates of organized crime groups are among about a dozen or so people expected to be facing charges in addition to the two separate illegal gambling-related cases, one involving Rozier and now one involving the Portland Trail Blazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, who, by the way, apparently they're saying this is not related to any games in which he was a coach. So that is interesting. We'll see what that means coming up.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a report here at 10 a.m. Eastern where the FBI is going to announce, because we don't know exactly what the specifics are. They're not going to spill all the tea on it, but at least give us a heads up. Is it where they were participating in games and legally throwing games? Was like a Pete Rose situation where you're managing a basketball team and you say, hey, this guy's injured, let me get that information out. He's not going to play when nobody else knows. Or it just could be bankrolling the funds here for these widespread, or bringing in clients who are big bettors and taking a percentage. We don't know. We're just speculating right now, but interesting times where we're not even at 9 a.m. Eastern on a Thursday. Multiple people already being arrested by the FBI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest, so make sure you keep the dial right here on the SportsGrid Network, because when that information comes out, we're certainly going to be able to deliver that to you live. But also, let's keep on flipping down the pages here, Joe. You take a look at the NFL. Yeah, I wonder if anybody in the NFL is getting brought down on some charges this weekend. One of those games that we're looking at, the Bears and the Ravens. And why are we looking at this game? Lamar Jackson. Maybe he's coming back, maybe he's not, but back to the practice field after a multi-week layoff due to a hamstring injury. This isn't a team that we're looking at right now. The Ravens like, hey, man, 6-1 cruising. This team needs a win in the worst way. And maybe Lamar can provide that, but just by being out there.
Yes, but what version of Lamar do you get? I mean, we've seen in some spots this number start to come down to 6 here, but it hasn't with the idea of him being able to play and being announced that anything short of being announced the starter, and it does look like if he's practicing, obviously he's going to be the starter. We thought, Donnie, once it was made official or we got to that point where he was on the practice field and he looks like he's good to go, that we'd start to see the money come in on Baltimore and this thing would go up to 7, maybe even more. But that's not the case. And it's shocking that we might actually see this thing go the other way. But I think it makes sense, right? Because you have no idea what you're going to get from him, number one. And the biggest issue for them is, how are you going to stop exactly the running game now of the Chicago Bears, who all of a sudden coming out of the break, Donnie, are rushing for, Swift's rushing for over 100 yards every game now. So I still don't think it's a great matchup for Baltimore, whether Lamar plays or he doesn't.
Exactly. They've been terrible with Lamar Jackson as well. Like, Lamar Jackson doesn't play defense. You're like, hey, Baltimore scored 30 points. Yeah, they'll give up 35. The interesting one to watch here. And again, always make sure you're checking those practice reports. Thursday, another day to practice, Joe. Friday, another day to practice. And then the determination will be made if he is going to play on Sunday. And you will see that line move one way or another if the decision is yes and or no. Let's get to another game at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon from Philadelphia. This line on the move, too. 7s for most of the week, Joe, now up to 7.5. The game we're talking about, the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. About 2 weeks ago, you saw the Giants hammer the Eagles on a Thursday night up at MetLife. Then the Philadelphia Eagles went on the road and picked up a victory. And then the Giants went on the road and had a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter and blew that to the Denver Broncos. Dart versus Hurts, 43.5 is a total here. I still have the same conclusion as yesterday. The Giants, I don't know how many games are going to win the rest of the way, but they look like they're going to be competitive. Divisional game, I'll take the 7.5. I will.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a big believer in the whole revenge thing here a couple of weeks apart, but I am a big believer in that, well, we might get some points in this one because I have no reason to think that all of a sudden both these defenses are going to be locked down with this. I mean, the Giants dropped 34 on the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, and the Eagles had 17, but it looks like they have found something here against Minnesota. And yeah, there's some issues there in the fourth quarter with that New York Giants defense. I think the over might be the best play in this game, Donnie, if we're being honest, and that's where I'm looking.
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be a fun game because the one thing the Giants won't be able to defend all that well, the Eagles wide receivers. And then also you take a look on the opposite side. The Eagles just having trouble defending a mobile quarterback. And you saw that in game number 1. That should be a fun game to watch it play out. And also would have been a lot more interesting if the Giants had won against the Denver Broncos. Because then you'd let me sound like, hey, can the Giants knock the Eagles off again? And can they actually win that division? Again, getting ahead of ourselves here, but should be a pretty good game in Philly. 4:25 start, Dallas and Denver. We just talked about the game. Denver, an unbelievable comeback. 33 points scored in the fourth quarter and a 1-point victory over the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. That offense looks like it's the best right now in the NFL. Look at that total, 50.5 up from 47.5, and a total, or excuse me, a side, Joe, that opened up 4.5, down to 3.5 now. The boys getting a little bit of points there on the road.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this is an interesting one because the look ahead, Donnie, was much higher than this. And then after, congratulations on the fourth quarter comeback and setting all records, but it didn't do you any favors in the marketplace because folks are looking for a reason to fade Denver in this spot here. And I don't blame them. I mean, quite honestly, they have been the most inconsistent team that there is. The one thing that we know for a fact, the most consistent thing we know is that this Cowboy offense with Dak Prescott, they are humming, Donnie, and they are putting up a ton of points here. So I think this is a fascinating game, but with the hook being out there, it seems a little strange still, right? Will this get to 3, Donnie, ever?
You know the people love to bet Dallas. You know they're going to see CeeDee Lamb and the Dak Prescott, and that tax that the Yankees usually have in baseball feels like it's on Dallas. I would say, you know what? I would say this line goes to 3 on Sunday. We'll see where that lines up. We'll talk about it again tomorrow on a Football Friday. Sunday Night Football. We already had a video up earlier in the show talking about Aaron Rodgers. Like, hey, man, you know what? This ain't that big of a deal. I'm not going back to Green Bay, still home. And, you know, I don't wish nothing ill will in Green Bay. Yes, you do, Aaron. And you're also an underdog here, getting 3 points at home for the Steelers. That's usually where Mike Tomlin likes it here, 45.5 total. Should be entertaining. All eyes on Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football, Joe.
Yeah. And this is a sneaky shootout here, Donnie, as far as I'm concerned here, because, I mean, let's face it, we just saw this vaunted Green Bay defense. I mean, Dallas dropped 40 on them. We saw Arizona had no problem, getting all the yardage that they needed there and an opportunity to actually upend them at home with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. We just saw Flacco, right, be able to put some points on the board. So I think this is a sneaky shootout. I think Aaron Rodgers and Pittsburgh will have no problem scoring points. And at the same time, there's nothing I've seen about this Pittsburgh defense that tells me all of a sudden they're going to shut this offense down here of Green Bay. I like a shootout in this one, Donnie, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. And also keep in mind, Christian Watson, been practiced for a couple weeks, back off the PUP list here from that knee injury last year. He could add some influence into that football game. Monday Night Football, Kansas City is rolling on offense, and you take a look at Washington, not going to be rolling with their best quarterback here because Marcus Mariota will be the starter. This line goes from 9.5, Joe, to 12.5 at most outlets right now, and a total of 46.5. Looks like an easy victory on deck here for Kansas City, or is it? And can the Commanders stay within that number?
No, I don't. Listen, we could probably get some points, but, forget about Kansas City's offense, Donnie. Have you seen what the Kansas City defense is starting to do now? They, too, are starting to put it together here, so it could be a very long afternoon for Washington, that's for sure.
Yeah, long afternoon. Might as well be an afternoon out there, right? They'll be playing all night, looking to get back on that plane, licking their wounds at this point. What's coming up next? The Prime Minister of Canada. We need the information. Toronto's in a World Series. We got NHL. We got NFL. Cam Stewart next. You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, boy, what a day it's been so far on a Thursday. And by the way, we're still before 9 a.m. Eastern, which is wild because of all the information that's coming out. We're keeping you up to date on who's going to play in the World Series and what that means. Also, Thursday night football tonight, as well as hockey and the NBA and the arrest coming down from the FBI. Sonny writes that it's Joe Ranieri, but now we need the energy of Cam Stewart to bring into the building here because we got a lot of questions that need answered today, Cam. We do.
We're not arresting us. We work at SportsGrid. No. We're allowed to wager. So screw you guys. We can do whatever the hell we want with our money. How you guys doing? Happy Thursday morning. Donnie, I got to tell you, a lot of fun here in the Toronto region. A lot of people Blast from the past. I remember 18 years old, party at my place. You know what I mean? Pager times. Man, it feels great. I got to tell you, just having a World Series here has been electrifying, but we got football tonight. We got hockey. By the way, Joe, golfers never sleep. They're doing it again at the Utah Bank Championship. Please, fellas, like, what is going on here? Michael Torbjornsen is the favorite. They're not teeing off for another hour for you degenerates out there. I got a few golf picks as well. You guys can take me anywhere you want. I'm yours.
Let's take you out in the streets here to Los Angeles tonight. Minnesota is going to be on the road with Carson Wentz at quarterback, taking on the Chargers and Justin Herbert. It's an interesting game, Cam. 44.5, let's call it, on the total, and a slight favorite to the Chargers. Both offensive lines coming in banged up, but both have some weaponry on the outside. I always love dome games because the one thing we don't have to worry about, Cam, is where is the wind blowing? Is it rainy? Is it 32 degrees? Clean slate on a Thursday. These two guys could sling it. I could see an over tonight. How you playing this game between the two?
I agree, Donnie. I'm looking at this total going, like, why isn't it 47.5 or more? Like, the Chargers defense is deplorable. Like, you guys saw what happened again. I guess I know the Colts have been doing it to everybody, but God, and their offense is fine. Their offensive line's banged up, and let's give Prince Harry, a.k.a. Carson Wentz, a lot of credit with Minnesota. You know, the guy's taking hits and coming back for more. I'm looking at the pooch right now. We were on the Bengals last week. I don't know if Minnesota can do it outright. Like 3.5, is that hook big? It could be. 44.5 seems a little bit light, Donnie. I'm with you. I got to tell you, I like Minnesota in a teaser situation. Definitely. I expect this game to be a one possession game. And right now I'm looking at the dog. Like, are we getting tricked with this total? Like, they could have made it 3 points higher and I'd still look at the over.
Kind of crazy, right? Cam, I'm just so not impressed with either defense right now. And it feels like the number's a little light, right? Doesn't it feel like both of these teams can get some points on the board here? Like, I don't understand the total here, but this is not the same old Minnesota defense for sure.
God, no, no. And they get shredded. You're right. Like, I'm just very surprised that the bookmakers put up that number. I guess it's only due to Thursday night football and short week, but I don't know. I could see sacks, turnovers, all sorts of crazy things in this game, right? So I think both teams can score. Guys, I know you don't do same game teasers for people that are degenerates and play the whole board. Like, I don't know how you take a teaser with the dog and go over there with Minnesota and the over. That's something I would definitely look at as well. So I'm with you. I like the dog, and I like points in this game, and I think the total's just a little bit too low. On the ice, well, there's a few games tonight too, guys. Watch out. Donnie, I know your Flyers are in action against Ottawa. Go Flyers! No, they could be a live dog. Ottawa's been one of the more disappointing teams in the league, but I do have one for you. It's a back-to-back situation. Detroit was on fire. They had a bad third period against Buffalo, but they're playing a really, really average to best. Like, the Islanders are not a very good hockey team, so I think Detroit could be a live dog tonight. Vancouver, they lost their first game in Pittsburgh on a very long road trip. I expect them to go into Nashville and beat down the Predators, who are one of the worst teams in the league. That game is a straight pick 'em. So those are things that I'm looking at on the ice last night. Donnie, ever since I ripped the Sabres on the show, Rochester Tommy told me to settle down. They've been on fire. I've been betting these losers, and they're coming through for me. Thanks, Buffalo. They're playing better than the Bills right now.
Dogs. Love to see the dogs out there. And by the way, the one thing we do like dog prices here, you get them a lot, as you said, in golf. And we had yesterday on, Keith talking to us like, yes, the PGA is still going on. There are events each and every weekend. Awesome. No, it's not Scotty Scheffler, but if you are a handicapper, there's money to be made in golf. What do we think about this week's action in the Bank of Utah? How about that? Ready to make a deposit out there.
Donnie, I like the silly season. I don't know if Joe feels the same way, because you take out some of the guys that destroy you. Like, I don't have to worry about a hedge with Scheffler on Sunday. Michael Torbjornsen is the favorite right now, a phenom from Stanford. People are waiting for him to win his first tournament. I think Keith Stewart liked him this week, and I'd have no problem with that. He's plus 160 for a top 10. I'm not going to take him outright, but I'm going to start this way. Davis Thompson's water seal, 25-1, hovering around the 75th mark. What do you guys need, Joe? You got to get into the top. You want to get into that 50, right? So a lot of these golfers who have won before that didn't have great years, Homa's in this tournament too. I think they need to do good things. Thompson at 25-1, he checks all the boxes for me. It's strictly about hot putting. Then we go to Alex Smalley. This guy finished third overseas in the Orient. Joe, he's been on fire. People aren't paying attention. Alex Smalley could be one of the next things on the PGA Tour. Got him at 40-1. This course will suit his eye perfectly. Steven Jagerbaum, you know me, Donnie. It's in the morning, but I still got to have alcohol in my picks. But anyway, that's what Jager does. Glug, 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 glug. I'll tell you, what is his weakness? fairways. And this course has the widest fairways. We talked to Brady Cannon and Keith about it. This is one thing Jaeger can do. He doesn't have to worry about hitting it hard and spraying it a little bit. 65-1 and 2 hours away from UNLV. Brady took 2 Rebels. I got 1 for you. My super pooch, Taylor Montgomery, a guy that was supposed to be a great golfer coming into form right now. Joe's nodding his head, and I like that. When the mayor of Miami agrees, that's good news for the prime minister. 80-1 with TM. Taylor Montgomery, UNLV product, playing 2 hours outside away in southern Utah. Should be a lot of fun this week, Donnie.
Huge cash available in this little silly season here. All right, Cam, how am I betting this World Series, man? What's the best way to approach it? Game by game? Do we go full series? Do we take game and a half? Like, what's the best way to go here?
I'd go game by game, but I think it is correlated. If you like the Dodgers, I think they're probably going to win with pitching, and the Blue Jays want to whack their way around right now. That their hitting is so good. That's the whole thing. Springer's on fire. Vlad Guerrero's on fire. Guys like Barger have played well. Ernie Clement, people are like, who the hell's Ernie Clement? He's playing fantastic baseball. The one thing about the Dodgers is their pitching has been so damn good. So I think if you like the Dodgers, these games might be lower scoring. The Blue Jays want to get into like a 6-5 game, 7-4, that type of stuff. And one thing the Dodgers did, they didn't hit that great, but they pitched so well. So guys, I actually think the Blue Jays have a chance. I know they're trying to play the Goliath versus David card, like, oh, we're the big underdogs. The Blue Jays have skills and talent. I think they can play with the Dodgers. I think it goes the distance, 7 games. You know, I'm a homer. Prime Minister, I can't bet on the Dodgers. I got to take the Blue Jays. I actually do believe they have a chance.
Again, it should be a good World Series. They need to ambush the Dodgers in game number 1. Pacheco's yard. I'm calling it right now. Welcome back, kid. Thanks, Cansfield, for joining us on a Thursday. We'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, guys. We'll be back. You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in and play really good defense and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Thursdays with the Prime Minister right here on the early line. Who doesn't love that? We absolutely love that. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. And a lot of information was handed out today. So much action in 2 hours, which included some action we maybe didn't think we would get to, which means players and coaches getting arrested, maybe 2 different stings involved by the FBI, but 10 a.m. Eastern, we will have a press conference here announcing what is actually going on in these gambling stings. Keep your ears glued and your eyes glued to the TV network that's known as the SportsGrid Network. But now's the time, at the end of the show, we like to reach out to the public and ask them a question and get their feedback. Here's Fade the Public. Thursday night football, people, live from Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. And if you're not following the SportsGrid Network on social media, you're doing it wrong, people. Head over to X. Go find @SportsGrid and hit the subscribe button there. Follow along. Why? Because the question we asked today was an easy one. That's the way we like to keep it. What is your best bet for tonight's Thursday night football matchup between the Vikings and the Chargers? 4 informational spots given for you that you can answer back yes on. Over, under, Vikings, or Chargers. And it looks like right now, Joe, the favorite is the Chargers, -3.5 by the public. Roughly 34% of the votes going that direction, followed by the Vikings at 29%, then the under at 11.8%, and the over at 25%. Pretty balanced and even, but the Chargers getting the lead dog votes right now, Joe.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Listen, I mean, that was horrific what they looked like. They didn't have to travel, though, so they've been able to lick their wounds at home, and it's a tough spot here scheduling-wise for Minnesota, who also did, by the way, didn't look exactly great. But I'm going to stick with the over, Donnie. I think that's the play here tonight because both these defenses are lacking, that is for sure. And both offenses, quite honestly, they got quarterbacks that may not be great right now, but they can get the ball out and get it in the hands of playmakers. So I think points are coming here tonight.
You got really good pass catchers on both sides of the football tonight in an environment that should be on a fast track. Why? Because we're not worried about elements outside of wind blowing and or rain in the forecast. But also keep in mind, a little bit later today, those inactive reports are going to come out. If the offensive lines come back a little bit in better shape than we think, then you might be able to hold off those pass rushes and get those players downfield for some points to be scored tonight. That's the way it gets down. Now, tonight, we're looking for a bounce back tonight, Joe. Stumbled a little bit for me for the Boston Celtics. They were supposed to win that game by 2 points. They lost that game outright. And an under the century last night, opening night down in Florida for Joe. So we will bounce back. Why? Because it's time for bye. Crank it up, Joe. We going back to the NBA? Where are we going tonight? So many options tonight for a best bet. How about it?
I'm still laughing at it. You know, close to 300 games Orlando and Miami have played. They never scored almost 80 points in the first quarter in the history of the two organizations. Pretty funny last night. But tonight, I'm going to go back to the association here, and I'm going take a look at this Golden State Warriors and Denver Nuggets game. And this has been about as one-sided a series as anything that you'll see. The Nuggets have dominated the Warriors over the years here. And I love the fact that Denver went out and got some reinforcements. The biggest issue for Denver last year was the depth. They didn't have any. Once the Joker went to the bench, well, that was the end of it. Well, not so much this year now. Now they went out, they got Cameron Johnson from Brooklyn. They got Bruce Brown back. They got Tim Hardaway Jr., and they got Valanciunas. This is a much deeper roster than what they had a year ago here. But I think they are plenty big enough, strong enough, and good enough here. Jamal Murray's healthy again. The Joker's ready to go. I think it's too much here. I think Denver wins this game, and at this price, I got no problem backing them going up against the AARP Golden State Warriors. Give me the Nuggets on the money line here tonight.
Ooh, Nuggets opening up, big time NBA action, a doubleheader tonight too. So you got two good games in there to watch out for, and also a game in the NBA, the NFL, which is where I'm going tonight. Am I going to take a side in this one? Not necessarily. How about a total? Nope, not necessarily. How about a player that you might not be paying attention to? You love Ladd McConkey. You love Keenan Allen. You love Quentin Johnson out there. You love Justin Herbert. Neither one of those players is on my card tonight. Why? Because it's a Rondé Gadsden. Donnie, who is that? The young tight end there for the Los Angeles Chargers. Take a look at what he's done, Joe, in the past two games. 8 targets in one game, 9 targets in the other, 7 catches in both. How about against those Miami Dolphins in a 29-27 victory? 68 yards. How about against the Indianapolis Colts, Joe? 7 catches for $164 and a touchdown. Rondé Gadsden II, over 42.5 receiving yards tonight. Let's go and get it covered for a 2-0 price point, Joe. How are we feeling? I feel good.
Get it done, baby. Let's get it done. Cash that ticket.
Cash that ticket. Donnie right side, Joe Ranieri. The Early Line Football Friday comes out tomorrow. Keep it here on the SportsGrid Network. See you later.